October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the Flint Hills family is banding together to fight. We'll show you just what they're doing. Welcome to MHK All Day. I'm Danielle Leon. We're glad you could join us. Have you heard what's going on around the Flint Hills? Local FBI officers were part of a nationwide push to stop child sex trafficking. Manhattan, Topeka, and Wichita were the three towns in Kansas included in the crackdown. One child was rescued in Wichita, and 7 pimps from the area were taken into custody. Authorities are asking the community to start being alert and watchful. If you would like to report a child sex trafficking, you can contact our local FBI office at 816-512-8200 or at 888-373-7888. More information about what you can do for the victims of human trafficking can be found on our Facebook and Twitter. Despite fears that Fort Riley would be hit by a military drawdown, the installation seems to be growing. The 1st Infantry Division Artillery will be reactivating at Fort Riley soon. The unit is excited and is expecting to officially start back online on October 16th. The division artillery was deactivated in Germany in 2005. The unit trains and certifies other soldiers to use artillery correctly. We have an update now on the robbery suspect who caused students to be kept off campus. Jonathan Elliott was arrested on September 11th in connection with a series of robberies and theft which caused a lockdown at Kansas State. Elliott is charged with 3 counts of felony aggravated robbery and 1 count of felony conspiracy to commit aggravated robbery. Elliott's preliminary hearing has been scheduled for November 10th. A local car dealership is raising money for a local mental health organization. Our own Lacey Siefken spent the day at Briggs Auto and brings us the story.
Welcome to our 24th Jeep Jamboree, and it's a beautiful day.
The day started at 7 a.m. in Manhattan's own Briggs Auto Company. After checking in, participants enjoyed a hearty breakfast to keep their energy up throughout the day's activities. For fun isn't the only thing on the program. Briggs partnered with Flint Hills Jeep Club to bring awareness to a very important cause.
Katie's Way is a mental health center that's unique in that it's team-based with psychiatrists and psychologists. Its sole purpose is to help kids with mental health problems.
One person every 20 minutes dies by suicide in the state of Kansas. In 2013, Riley County lost 10 to suicide.
My daughter was one of those 10 that we lost to suicide and depression.
You think you're out here to have fun and ride a Jeep around? That's not really what you're doing. You're saving lives today, guys, and I wish you'd give yourselves a hand for that.
The Jamboree raised $1,100 that went into the 50-50 raffle, meaning half goes to the winner and the other half for Katie's Way's staff recruitment. It was Daryl Rader that won the raffle, and instead of keeping his half, he chose to give it all to Katie's Way.
It's been a good cause for a lot of people, and I think we did.
He's going to give it back to Katie's Way, guys.
It was a beautiful day, filled with fun, food, friends, families, and Jeeps.
Without events like this, there would be very little knowledge that Katie's Way even exists.
We hope to see you next year for the 25th anniversary. Thank you for coming, everybody.
If you'd like to find out more about Katie's Way or lend your support to this local organization, just head on over to our Facebook page for more information. Some Kansas State students have been cut off from the network. Their devices were infected by a virus called Xcode Ghost. The virus infected several apps in the iOS App Store. Even though the apps were removed from the store, they may still be on your Apple devices. Devices with this virus have been blocked from accessing the K-State wireless network. If you think your device may be infected with the virus, the IT desk in Hale Library can help you get rid of it and get you back on the network. Fort Riley had an important guest at the opening of its newest school. Governor Sam Brownback showed up at the opening of the $22 million school Friday morning. The federal building funded almost $18 million of the total, and the state contributed about $3 million. The new building replaces a 60-year-old school and can hold 500 students. It includes a media center and gym, which also serves as a tornado shelter. It was ladies' night out in the Ville, but it's not what you're thinking. These ladies took their party to the Straight Up Creative Studio in Aggieville, where they painted a unique canvas for breast cancer awareness. Exactly 5 years ago, cancer survivor Andy Washburn found a lump in her breast and underwent chemotherapy. Today, she has this to say about the importance of a self-check.
There are no words to describe how important I think it is. I mean, mammograms don't catch everything, but you know your body better than anyone. I mean, there is no one who can possibly know you better than you do. And if you find something, go check it out. It's not worth waiting.
A portion of the proceeds of this event will go to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Stick with us. We'll have sportsman Tanner Barth here to let you know what's going on in the playoffs as baseball season continues. Don't forget to keep up with MHK All Day on Facebook. Just head on over to our page and click like to get updates about what's going on in the Flint Hills. We'll be right back.
I like K-State mainly for the family atmosphere.
Once you're here, you're greeted with a smiling face.
You could step onto K-State's campus and feel that without even talking to anyone, that it's welcoming.
The administrators and faculty, they remember your name.
Anywhere you go, someone's there to help you and to smile at you.
Half of campus is going to be wearing purple, and you know that there's that K-State pride.
It's really evident that you can do something and you can be somebody and you can really define yourself here.
I'm a part of the campus.
K-State to me is home.
And that kind of gives me a sense of place.
Who is going to help safely feed 9 billion people in the year 2050? Who will design sustainable cities that can flourish? Who is going to shed light on dark matter and origins of the universe? Where will we teach the scientists who will engineer our future? At one of the world's top research universities, Kansas State University.
A Wildcat legacy from generation to generation.
Where my grandfather went to school.
Where my mother went to school.
It's a legacy scholarship program started by the K-State Alumni Association, specifically for the children and grandchildren of K-State alumni. When you buy a K-State license plate, you fund legacy scholarships.
Show your purple pride and be a part of the Wildcat legacy.
From the Little Apple to the Big Apple, through internships, networking, and great professors, Lauren Bishop landed the job of her dreams, working with entertainers and celebrities for a PR firm in New York City. From backstage at the 25th anniversary of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, watching Mick Jagger and Bono rock, to London for the launch of a new luxury hotel, Lauren Bishop is living her dream. That's the Wildcat way.
Welcome back to MHK All Day. I'm joined by sports analyst Tanner Barth. It's a great day to be a sports fan in Kansas right now, isn't it, Tanner?
Absolutely, Daniela, and tonight will be one of the biggest sports moments of the year for Kansas sports fans. The Kansas City Royals rallied back against the Astros from a 6-2 deficit in the bottom of the 8th inning on Monday afternoon's Game 4. 5 huge runs got it started by a single by Alex Rios. After that, all uphill for the Royals from there on out. Wade Davis would come in the bottom of the 8th and shut the door as the Royals would go on to win 9-6. That game sets the stage for tonight's Game 5 at Kauffman Stadium. Let's take a look at the matchup. On the mound for the Royals will be mid-season acquisition Johnny Cueto, who was an 11-game winner during the regular season. Opposing him for the Astros will be Game 1 winner Colin McHugh. With the season on the line tonight in Kansas City, first pitch from Kauffman Stadium in Game 5 of the American League Divisional Series is set for 7:07. With Kansas State football in full swing, already 5 games have passed for the Cats. The Wildcats' record right now stands at 3-2 after a heartbreaking loss on Saturday to the number 2 ranked TCU Horned Frogs. The Wildcats held an 18-point lead at half, but There, it was Trevon Boykin's show as he took over for the Horned Frogs. They would go on to outscore the Cats 34-7 in the second half to get the come-from-behind victory and improve to 6-0 on the season. But Kansas State, they will look to bounce back this weekend, but it won't be an easy task. They'll welcome in the number 19th ranked Oklahoma Sooners to Bill Snyder Family Stadium. That game is at 2:30 Central Daylight Time. But as we said, this will not be an easy task for the Cats. They have not beat the Sooners in Manhattan since 1996. Only 3 years old was I back then, so it's been a while, as you can see. Another exciting event for this game, though, Danielle, is the second annual K-State Fighting for Your Cure Shirt Day. The Johnson Cancer Research Center and head coach Bill Snyder are asking all fans to buy and wear their shirts to this Saturday's football game against Oklahoma to really help join in the fight and provide a good outlook for this homecoming game for Kansas State.
I know I have my shirt. Do you have your shirt, Tanner?
I do have my shirt, but if you're interested in getting these shirts, they are still available on the Kansas State campus here in Manhattan on Chalmers Hall or in sale at Varney's in Aggieville. And just a good thing with that, all the proceeds from the shirts will go help towards fighting for the fight against cancer. So you really can't go wrong with that, Danielle.
No, you cannot. Well, Tanner, are you excited to see the Cats this weekend as well?
Absolutely. I think Kansas State, they're going to need to bounce back out of that tough loss to TCU, and I think the Cats will come out and play good and hopefully get a win and fight on the field and fight for the cure for cancer. It should be a great overall weekend against Oklahoma for K-State.
Yeah, definitely a tough loss. Well, thanks, Tanner. It is no secret that some kids are worried about getting picked on every day. Lindsay Ford has the story of what Junction City Middle School is doing to prevent bullying.
October is National Bullying Prevention Month. Schools everywhere have took a stand to raise awareness in every classroom. Last week, Junction City Middle School got into the spirit for Anti-Bullying Month and hosted a Spirit Week preventing bullying. Guidance counselor and head coach of anti-bullying, Michael Flint, gave a heads up on what Junction City Middle School had planned.
And then this month of October is National Bully Prevention Month. So this particular week we did a couple of things where we actually had a Bully Prevention Spirit Week, which is kind of why I'm dressed the way I am today, is No Sweat It Friday. So we have kids and staff members wearing sweatpants and sweatsuits and things like that. A good turnout. Yesterday was Superhero Day, so to kind of support each other. We also had a Twin Day earlier in the week where, you know, again, supporting each other, dressing up like each other. My favorite day was Tiki Tacky Day, where you just kind of wear whatever clothes you want, and if it doesn't match, it doesn't match. So show, again, it doesn't matter what you wear or who you are, we're all here to support each other. Okay. So there might be some videos that they watch a little bit, and we get the kids' responses. Sometimes they'll get up and do group activities to kind of get the point across. One of the favorite ones in the building is where they do actually some team building type activities where not only are they supposed to be supporting each other, but getting to know each other. And our theory is if you know somebody pretty well, you're probably less likely to bully them. And we talk a lot about standing up for someone who you see getting picked on and things like that. And that's kind of what we were trying to do this week, is to promote togetherness versus divisiveness. And
Thanks, Lindsay, for that report. And to keep up with MHK All Day crew and everything that's happening in the Flint Hills, please join us on Twitter and on Facebook at MHK All Day.
Kenya, Africa. A baby elephant is trapped in a waterhole. Researchers rush to the rescue, and a 400-pound baby elephant and its agitated, dangerous mother are finally reunited. One of those researchers is K-State alumnus Mark Sowers. While at K-State, he used telemetry to study bison on the Konza Prairie Biological Station, a skill he now uses to study and help elephants, his lifelong dream. That's the Wildcat way.
Around here, school pride isn't just some slogan on a t-shirt. It's the spirit that comes from understanding we are stronger when we're together. That's the essence of K-State Proud, a nationally recognized student-led fundraising campaign. In just 6 years, K-State Proud has helped raise more than $500,000 to help students who need it most and appreciate it best. Think of it as Philanthropy 101. K-State Proud. It's just one more way the Kansas State family treats one another, well, like family. Where there's a Wildcat, there's a way. Nearly 150 years ago, the first native limestone was carved into the campus of Kansas State University. Since that time, K-State has known what it takes to rise to the challenge. Now, we're challenging ourselves to become a top 50 public research university by the year 2025. To reach that status, our research dollars, endowment, career award winners, and patents are growing to match our internationally recognized programs and research. K-State 2025 is more than a challenge. It's a commitment we'll keep. Because where there's a Wildcat, there's a way.
Welcome back to MHK All Day. I'm sitting here with pastor and cancer survivor King Crawford. So pastor, what kind of cancer were you diagnosed with?
I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma. It's a blood cancer. It's along with the leukemia family. But it is not curable, but it is treatable. And that makes me a survivor because they can't find any more in my body.
Oh, well, when exactly were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed a year ago, about this time. I have a very loving wife. She's not a nag. She is a very persistent woman, and she said, please have a doctor check out your headaches that you're having. And I went in to have the headaches. They found there was nothing there, literally. And then I went through a number of tests, and finally they said, let's do a bone marrow biopsy and see if there's anything like cancer, and bingo. That's what we found out.
Well, that's a very scary thought. So what was your initial reaction when you found out that you were diagnosed with this?
Even pastors can be scared and kind of upset and kind of angry, not at God, but you start asking questions to God. What did I miss? Where did I go? Or how can I use this to better the message of Jesus Christ?
So you're a pastor, so what's it like being a patient as opposed to your usual role of visiting patients in the hospital?
Well, I will tell you, there was a number of people who came to visit me, and I was able to see that role change from them to where I was at. But there was a period of time when I was just by myself, and there was nobody visiting, and so I had to think about those things, but I was never alone.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like your faith played a huge part in, the whole treatment and recovery process?
Well, there was times when faith was really stretched, when you're laying on this table and they're pumping for 5 hours, 3 days long. They took all of my stem cells out, 5 million of them. Ooh. They wanted 7 million, but they only got 5 million plus. And they said, well, you'd have to have enough for 2 transplants. Then 4 days later, they said, we're going to put, they give you the chemo, they kill all of the cancer, they hope they do, and then they put all that fresh blood stem cells back in. So it's a bone marrow biopsy is what the procedure is called. And I was in the hospital for 14 days after that, and I had to be in remission or in seclusion for 100 days, where I had to wear a mask, I had to wear gloves, that sort of thing. I just received my baby shots, first 6 baby shots that you get at 6 months.
Okay, and I mean, what was your initial family reaction? I mean, this is really hard, especially since, this is lifelong.
Yes.
So what was the initial reaction of your family?
For my wife, she thought it was her fault. She thought, what did I forget to do for you to keep you from getting this? And of course, the doctors took some time to explain to her, was there anything you could have done or not do? It's just a problem that happens. But it was kind of a shock to them because I'm kind of an active individual. I don't like to just sit and do nothing, and I like to do things. I did lose 30 pounds. I've been wanting to do that for a while, and of course I wasn't planning on doing it this way, but it was good. I would have to say that the most rewarding shock was when the doctor came, and when I went and talked to the doctors at KU Med, the sister unit. He took about an hour and a half to talk to me. When he came back in to tell me that I was in complete remission, it took him about 2 minutes. And when he left, I looked and my wife was in the corner just bawling, and I thought he slapped her. But of course, I had to wake up. It was the good news that I was in remission.
And what type of advice do you have for anyone who is currently diagnosed with or recently diagnosed with a chronic illness?
I would say listen to your doctors. They really want you to get well, and they want you to feel well. I had a nurse whose husband was a Methodist pastor, and she said, Pastor, you have to walk, you have to get up and move, you have to make this blood of yours work. And if that's what the doctor's telling me to do, that's what I have to do. So I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I go over to Peterson's, and I do some walking over there, or I walk at home too.
Well, thank you, Pastor, for joining us. You're very, very awesome. Well, cancer research at Kansas State University is growing, and the Johnson Center of Cancer Research is helping in many ways. The center helps fund cancer research, raise awareness, and recognize cancer survivors. Megan Miller found the people working to improve cancer treatments. She has their story.
The fight starts here. And for Susan Whitaker, the fight has a personal meaning.
I started in 2012, and then in 2013, March is when I was diagnosed with the cancer. So, I was already working on these possible therapeutic agents for cancer.
It was stage 3 colon cancer, which meant 6.5 months of chemotherapy.
By going through it, you have a whole new respect for trying to improve it.
Whitaker has received funding from the Johnson Center of Cancer Research 2 different times. The director of the center, Dr. Donnell, has also been directly affected by cancer.
About a little more than 15 years ago, my wife was treated for breast cancer, and she just finished that treatment. I was diagnosed with nasopharyngeal cancer, which is up in your nasal passages.
When Dr. Donnell returned from treatment, he applied to be the director of the center and got even more involved. Since K-State doesn't have a medical school, Donnell is working to give recognition to the work that people are doing in over 17 departments.
One of the things I stressed was the importance of such interactions, for example, with chemists and people in the College of Veterinary Medicine. That kind of collaborative interaction could lead to major breakthroughs.
The center has many other people on board who are helping to get the word out.
I realized that not enough people knew about the center, even local people. So I and another coworker who's no longer here tried to just do more and more outreach in the community and publicizing of the center and the cancer research at K-State.
Most of the research done at K-State focuses on targeted treatment that will only affect the cancer cells.
We don't want to make people feel so bad that they have to, stay in bed for a week every time they get chemotherapy. So that's really my motivation, is remembering what I went through and trying to make sure that people don't have to go through that.
There are many ways to get involved with the Johnson Center of Cancer Research. The center is holding their 18th annual golf tournament on Friday, October 16th. For more information, you can call 785-532-6705. In other news, would you like to be featured on MHK All Day? All you have to do is send us your pictures on Facebook or Twitter with the hashtag MHK All Day, or send your pictures to mhkalldayShow@gmail.com. You could even end up on TV.
It was the day the music nearly died. Little remained after a 1968 fire roared through Nichols Hall at Kansas State University, reducing the music department to rubble. But before the embers of that terrible fire had even died, a new fire blazed within every member of the Wildcat Band. Using the only sheet music that survived the fire, the band pumped up the next home crowd with a rousing rendition of Wabash Cannonball. To this day, the jingle, the rumble, and the roar still fire up the fans and brings them to their feet. Where there's a Wildcat, there's a way.
K-State Student Radio brings every game to K-State fans on the Wildcat 91.9.
Line's going to take a pitch out to the right. Hubert dices his way up and into the end zone for the Wildcat touchdown. Takes the snap. He's going to roll out. He's going to throw deep over the middle of the field for Tyler Lockett. Catches it. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Kansas State.
For all of your K-State sports coverage, tune into the Wildcat 91.9.
Wired magazine calls him the explainer. His students call him amazing. Over 20 million YouTube views show that Associate Anthropology Professor Michael Wesch is transforming higher education. Translated to more than 20 languages and counting, Professor Wesch's teachings still share one common voice: passion. And whether you're learning live or online, that passion is contagious. And that passion is one of the leading reasons Kansas State University is first among U.S. public research universities in producing U.S. Case Carnegie Professors of the Year. Where there's a Wildcat, there's a way.
Welcome back to MHK All Day. We are now going to talk about the best things we've heard about in the Flint Hills. Welcome to Kudos Corner. Would you like to win $100,000? I know I would. The Department of Homeland Security wants your help creating fresh, new ideas for the National Bio and Agro Defense Facility here at Kansas State. The competition is asking problem solvers to come up with ways to make sure the National Bio and Agro Defense Facility becomes a part of the academic community around it. If you'd like to know more about this challenge, a link is posted on our Facebook page. K-State Salina is opening up one of the largest enclosed flight facilities in the nation. The UAS Pavilion will be used to train students in unmanned aerial system flights. The 50-foot tall, 60,000 square foot enclosure was the result of a partnership between K-State Salina and Westar Energy. There will be a ribbon cutting ceremony for the facility on October 21st. The K-State French Club is teaching people how to make a delicious homemade chocolate croissants that you get to eat. If you'd like to check out the event, it's going on Schellerberg 109 from 6 to 9 tonight. Now it's time to look at our community calendar. The annual Trick or Treat Aggieville is this Friday night before the K-State Homecoming Parade. Candy and goodies will start being handed out at 3. Friday is also the 18th annual Rob Regier Memorial Golf Tournament to benefit the Johnson Cancer Center research. Play takes off at 1 o'clock on Saturday as our Wildcats take on the Sooners. You can do your part by wearing your K-State Fighting for a Cure t-shirt. The game kicks off at 2:30. For those museum and history buffs, the Geary County Historical Museum has its Cabinet of Curiosities from 1 to 4 on Saturday. And on Sunday, you can head over to Manhattan Holiday Inn for Dogtoberfest. There will be a pet costume, and you know I can't wait, Tanner. It'll be fun.
I know, Danielle, you always talk about dressing up animals, taking them with you, going trick-or-treating, all that fun stuff. Are you ready for Halloween?
I know I'm ready for Halloween. I am going to be a witch. What are you going to be?
I haven't really thought about it yet. It's one of those things that, being a guy, I don't really think about that. I just wait until probably maybe like the day before Halloween and say, hey, I'm just gonna wear something that I have, save that, so I don't have to go out and buy something.
Well, let's be honest, in October, all you think about is October and the playoffs,
Yeah.
So is your bracket good to go? Because I know mine's still not.
Right now,
great.
I'm still 100%, and it'll be interesting to see if the Royals can win it tonight.
So. Well, let's hope our boys in blue can. So thanks for joining us at MHK All Day, and we hope to see you next week. We'll show you some of the amazing hands-on learning that is happening near you.